This is Trend Following Radio, where great thinking comes alive. Nobel Prize winners, legendary traders, best-selling authors, and the pros that know what drive us irrational human beings. I am your host, Michael Covel. Not filtered, raw, honest. That's my passion. What a run. Nice, straight, upward stock prices. Super low interest rates. How we got there? Who the hell knows exactly? We can all take guesses. But what a fabulous run. And then, boom! February 2018, volatility returns. Now, it might just be a 1-month blip. And right back to the racetrack for standard issue long only is the best strategy in the world. But right now, in this moment, February 2018, volatility returning. It's like watching the cockroaches scream out across the floor when you turn the lights on. Flip on CNN, flip on CNBC, the largest point drops ever, 2 of them in 1 week on the Dow. Oh my gosh, the worst in the world, the largest point drops. Not percentages, point drops. Of course it's not the biggest percent ever. Everyone can go back and look at the historical record and see what was going on in October of 1987 on one particular day. That's a drop. February 2018, the biggest point drops. Now, why do they phrase it that way? Why do they phrase it that way? They know it's inaccurate. They know it's misleading. I mean, it's accurate in the sense that it's a true statement, but it's not true in what they're doing because it's misleading. It's designed to scare. It's designed to cause who knows what in the masses that don't know which end is up. Maybe there's a competitive reason for this. Maybe there's a political reason for this. Who knows? But a little bit of volatility returns after a massive run, and you would think it's the end of the world. You got Cramer out there. You know, they bring him back after his infamous bear pronouncements nearly a decade ago. They bring Cramer back to say that no one knows what's going on, implication being he is the only one that knows what's going on. And you feel like you've been through this movie before, the old Groundhog Day thing, right? I've been through this scene before. Volatility. It must be the machines. The machines are killing us. The machines are killing our straight up stock market. The machines. The machines. Think about this. Essentially, glorified spreadsheets. The machines are killing us. Who writes the code for the spreadsheets? Oh, I don't know. Human beings. Human beings deciding how much they want to risk in any given point in time. Gee, that sounds like a novel thing people buy and they sell for their own particular reasons. That's so new. That's such an exceptionally new concept in February 2018. But you see, it's sexier. It's more mysterious. There's a deadly, sinister black hand behind the scenes, a Darth Vader-like character when you describe it as the machines. Because you, Joe Q. Public, can't possibly know what a machine on Wall Street does. And you don't have one. So the game is rigged. It's fixed. Now, how the hell does that make any sense? The Dow's gone straight up, essentially, since '08. Game's not rigged. Who cares if somebody applies an automated process to the markets? Who cares if they buy and sell for their particular reason at their particular time? Why do you care? How can it even help you to care? It doesn't help you. That's the whole point of this. The whole point of this is to keep you in a constant state of idiocy. It's like the Mike Judge movie, Idiocracy. That's what this is all designed to do. The question is, can you step back and look at it for what it is? The biggest point drop ever. Okay, if that actually caused your pulse to race, you're probably going to have a shitty life. Mentally, emotionally, things are not going to go that right. Because if you can be fooled into thinking that a point drop is the same as a percentage drop, I will guarantee you that you have other areas in your life that are a mess too. So my point today is clarity, to find that clarity, to think through what's going on. We have volatility in the markets all of a sudden. So what? You think this is new? Is volatility a new concept? It's a new word? Have you bothered to go back and look in time at other points in time? Or were we at the new thing of today is a special case where all the rules have changed? Human behavior is now perfectly rational. FOMO wins, Kahneman's out. Did you really believe that? Of course, a lot of people do believe that. And that's where the fear comes in. The blame game comes in. There must be somebody to blame for this. Now, what's really interesting is some of the people they often blame are funds, the machines, and that could be a trend following firm because, often many times trend following firms say, hey, let's take our rules and write them down and put them into a computer and let's automate our process because we're managing billions of dollars of outside money and it's just easier. Well, guess what? This little volatile period in February, the one particular day, trend following traders took it on the chin. Why? Because it essentially was like a flash crash. Massive, quick volatility. Now, give yourself an extended bear market over time. Trend following is going to do fantastic. Give yourself a flash crash or flash crash junior. Nobody's going to do well. I mean, there might be somebody that does well. Somebody got lucky on that. It is a zero-sum game after all. But from a strategy perspective, if there is this sudden, accelerated volatility, you should expect a good strategy like trend following to, guess what? Lose money. And many did. David Harding, one of the icons, he lost 3 to 4% in a day. 3 to 4% in a day. Oh my gosh, that must mean trend following is dead, right, Covel? David Harding lost 3 to 4% in a day. That must mean trend following is right. It's the same mentality as the guy that wants to believe a point drop is as bad as a percent drop, or the guy that wants to blame the machines. There are so many false narratives out there, so much idiocracy. I implore everyone to take a step back and try and get fuzzy in the eyeballs for a moment, blur your eyes, and look at what's going on. It's markets. Markets acting as they normally act. If you give a great bull market lots of juice, lots of leverage, and straight up for a long time, eventually it goes the other way. That's just normal. That's to be expected. And did you see all the people that came out literally the day after these 2 big point drops? And they had all the explanations. They could tell you why it happened, what will happen next. How can they tell you anything of the sort? They can't. They're just lying. They're making stuff up. But most are not confident enough to believe that. They want to think that, again, there's this mystery out there. There's this special insight, this inside information that they don't have. So if somebody comes on CNBC or Bloomberg and they have a story for why a particular day went down 5 or 6% on the Dow or whatnot, or the Nikkei, people just want to believe this. I look at these shows like theater. They're actors. They're reading stories. I mean, when you turn on CNBC, look at their ear. They've got an earpiece in there, and somebody is feeding them lines. That's what happens. It's fake. It's not real. It's all there to generate ad dollars. So if you watch and you continually stay in a fearful mindset, you'll watch more because Stockholm Syndrome, your captor, will give you more when your captor is ready. And all of a sudden, another breaking news, lower third on the screen appears to work you up into another lather. Please, my God, we've all seen this so many times over the last 20 years. Now, what's interesting is different generations will see this at different times. For example, the millennial generation right now is dealing with their crypto explosion because crypto looked fantastic going straight up. It doesn't look so fantastic right now. That's surely causing an entirely new generation to reassess what they should believe, what they should know, what they should do with their trading and investing. Now, it won't cause everyone to reassess. Some people will just keep throwing bad money at bad ideas. I'm not saying the crypto place and blockchain is a bad idea, but clearly a lot of this is fraud and a lot of this is just nonsense, not unlike the .com era. That's normal. That happens. I mean, every time you get a new innovation, the fraudsters, the hucksters, and all that kind of stuff jump right in. And they start selling the gullible what the gullible wants to buy. Wash, rinse, repeat. Look, I don't have any big view about the ethics or morals of anybody in the markets. The markets you can walk into freely right now and buy and sell. And that's the only thing you can control. You can control your buying and your selling. If there are good people in the markets and bad people in the markets, it's all washed into the mix. You can't control it, so why the hell worry about it? It is what it is. Have a plan. Have a strategy. That's all you can do. Now, of course, given the rocky period that has happened right now, people want more than that. They want more of a story. They want more of a fix. Well, there's no such thing. You're deluding yourself. You're in la-la land. Now, look, I will not win over everybody with my style. I don't really care. It's not about my style. It's about what I'm saying. If I trigger you into some manic state because you don't like my tone, or I've made you feel bad about something dumb you've done, that's your issue, not mine. But that doesn't take away from the content. And you might be saying to yourself, oh my gosh, this guy, Mike Covel, he sounds so strong-willed about these things. But why is he so special? I'm not so special. I'm a conduit from every bright person, bright trader that I've had a chance to interact with over the last 20 years. And that list, that laundry list, is quite long. I've put myself in the middle of their mindset. What you hear from me is not new. It's just wise. And that wisdom comes from people that go back hundreds of years. To add to my perspective, I want to read a blog post or excerpts from my blog post from Cliff Asness of AQR. Cliff has done extremely well in the markets. Cliff has a lot of trend following, and in his perspective, he thinks in terms of numbers. His blog post goes, you may have noticed the market turbulence lately. You may have also noticed the legion of commentators among the media, politicians, and famous investors blaming this turbulence on risk parity, trend following strategies, or my favorite, just the machines. Poppycock. Yes, it's come to this. They've driven me to swear like Mrs. Doubtfire. Now again, this is Cliff Asness talking, not me. Cliff continues, to be clear, it's not unreasonable to think that strategies that target volatility in a long biased portfolio are likely to sell into the higher market volatility that often coincides with market losses. Nor is it unreasonable to think that strategies that explicitly follow trends are likely to sell into bear markets. That's kind of obvious. So I guess they get the direction right, but size matters. To make a statement about this, you have to have a vague idea about how many dollars are in such strategies and what they are likely to sell in a downdraft. You may notice a conspicuous lack of relevant estimates from many machine haters. This isn't surprising because the facts show the machines can't possibly be the culprit. Cliff continues. If those blaming the machines, sorry, I seem to be compelled to keep using the air quotes, have different numbers and want to debate these findings, let's do it. That's always fair game. But if they just want to make accusations with nothing to support them, then they are just irresponsible yentas throwing shade they can't back up. Okay, you may have noticed that I too have not offered anything concrete, mea culpa. But I got something up my sleeve, peeps. Well, one peep. My partner, Michael Mendelson, who thankfully is far less belligerent and snarky than me, has been on top of this issue for the last several years, and he explains here. I'm not going to tell you where it is, because if you can't find this blog post in 2018, you're like the people that think the point drop and the percentage drop are the same. So you go figure out where this blog post is, please. Yes. And I'm not being snarky or cocky either. Just go find it. Back to Cliff. Is far less belligerent and snarky than me, has been on top of this issue for the last several years, and he explains here why risk parity and trend following strategies are not to blame. And unless someone wants to argue with his views on the actual sizes, which again, we'd welcome because legit debate is always great, they should sit on it. Now, I'm not clicking on the link yet that Cliff says sit on it, but I assume it's a Happy Days Fonzie reference, which I quite love. To reach back in and use something very simple, sit on it, perhaps that's a little bit better than some of my F-bombs occasionally here and there. A great perspective from Cliff Asness. And also, please check out from Cliff's firm. He has a great white paper about trend following performance going back, I believe it's 100 years. And other trend following firms have similar white papers going back even longer. Great insights into this very cool strategy of trend following. And ultimately, why would you even want to go down the path of having something that's not buy and hold, long only? And if you've not yet at least pondered that question, please stop, come up for air, look around, and realize there is a heck of a lot of danger and volatility associated with what can appear to be a straight up bull market in something like the Dow. And then all of a sudden, February 2018 hits. But it's not all of a sudden for those of us that have looked at history. This is, again, not novel. It's not new. The question will be, are you prepared? Are you ready? That's it. Are you ready to pull in some return at different points in time than typical long-only strategies? And are you ready for when those long-only strategies crater? That's it. Because let's face it, us human beings, we are quite predictable. We do the same stuff over and over again. It's terribly hard to predict when we will do these things, but we as humans, we are very predictable. On the way out, I want to read some feedback from a listener to this podcast. He wrote in concerning my most recent new podcast with Charles Faulkner. He said, "Your latest Faulkner podcast is the single best explanation I have ever heard on why our modern political discourse is so divided, with left and right utterly unable to communicate incredible knowledge. Thank you for sharing." I kind of asked for some more feedback to figure out what was turning him on. He came back to me. "I've turned a number of non-investors onto your podcast. At first, they think you and me are crazy, but then it all comes together and they are hooked." And then he gave me a little more feedback about this show. He said, "I think strong views, eat what you kill attitude, non-politically correct language, and libertarian views are a bit shocking to most people today. We've developed an atmosphere that allows snowflakes to survive thinking they should never feel uncomfortable or challenged in their beliefs. So, an honest, direct thinking takes some getting used to. But when they get to digest a few of your podcast, it all comes together. I think your dilemma is that if you were more approachable on first listen, you would be less engaging over time. So I don't suggest any change in approach. People just need to be ready for the red pill." Yeah, if I start changing this, I'm changing me. I am who I am. This is how I see it. This is the unvarnished perspective. I don't have an agenda. I don't have any corporation that tells me what to say. I don't have any government telling me what to say. I just do what I do. And I enjoy finding truth in the forest of non-truth. we all know there is an absolute mega forest of non-truth. If I can inspire you in anything today, it's to accept that first and then go look for that truth. I see a time when those awake will understand how to make money in up, down, and surprise markets. Whether new trader or experienced, college student or financial advisor, protecting against a crash or just trying to make a lot of money, trend following offers everyone an answer in uncertain times. To get started immediately, send me an email, michael@covel.com. I will send you the right trend following steps to take along with my free video. But if you want to buy and hold, trust the government and trust Wall Street, this is absolutely not for you.